So hi and good morning to everyone. My name is Benny and Abujan, and my student number is 2022-67756. So today I will make a report on Malaysia trade performance from 2015 to 2024. So now I will explain the trade performance for the 2015 and 2024. So for the overall trade, the key trends in here are the export and import growth of Malaysia trade performance. So in the graph, it shows that the consistent growth from 2015 to 2022. So driven by the global demand for manufactured goods, and however, there was a notable decline in 2023. This is due to the weakened global economic activity, such as the balance of the trade surplus that consistently increased from RM91.6 billion in 2015 to RM256.2 billion in 2022. So the decline in 2023 reflects lower export values and challenges in a global trade, such as lower economic growth and geopolitical tensions. So there must be a reason behind all of this. The first reason is because of the export-oriented industries, such as dominance in the E&E product and commodities like palm oil and petroleum. The second reason is because of in 2022 there's a COVID-19 impact, and the recovery trade rebounded strongly in the 2021 and 2022. But the slowdown in the 2023 indicates the lingering challenge like supply chain disruptions. And then the third one is the currency movements. So the favorable exchange rate boosted competitiveness during the peak years. Next, we will see the graph for the domestic export and re-export from 2014 to 2024. So the growth comparison in here is that the domestic export, it grew steadily but slower compared to the re-export, and notable increases were seen in 2021 until 2022 due to a rise in the manufactured goods export. So as we can see on the graph, the re-export, it shows faster growth, especially at the year of 2017. So in 2022, the re-export accounted for 328 billion compared to the 184.6 billion in 2022. For the notable changes, as we can see, the re-export growth, it indicates Malaysia growing role as a regional trade and logistic hub. The second one is the commodity depends. So for the domestic export, it relies heavily on raw material and E&E products, while the re-export, it's captured the transshipment activity. Next, we will see the graph for the domestic export and re-export from 2014 to 2024. So the growth comparison in here is that the domestic export, it grew steadily but slower compared to the re-export, and notable increases were seen in 2021 until 2022 due to a rise in the manufactured goods export. So as we can see on the graph, the re-export, it shows faster growth, especially at the year of 2017. So in 2022, the re-export accounted for 328 billion compared to the 184.6 billion in 2022. For the notable changes, as we can see, the re-export growth, it indicates Malaysia growing role as a regional trade and logistic hub. The second one is the commodity depends. So for the domestic export, it relies heavily on raw material and E&E products, while the re-export, it's captured the transshipment activity. So now we will explain the major export by the sector in 2024. So the key sector in here, we have the electrical and electronic product, which mean we have the major export for the E&E product for RM 491.2 billion and followed by the petroleum product, which is the RM 108.7 billion. For the other 7 products, it only have 63.7 billion, 61.4 billion, 56.4 billion, 51.1 billion, and 49.5 billion. LNG got 49.4 billion. For palm oil, we only have 29.3 billion, and the processed food, we only have 29 billion. So for the E&E product, is driven by the global demand for semiconductors and electronic devices. For the petroleum, which is the 108.7 billion, it's supported by the energy demand and favorable prices. For the palm oil products, its significant contribute or due to the high global demand. And for that, the agriculture products. Next, the economic impact. So the economic impact by the E&E export are critical to the GDP, and it's highlighting for the Malaysia position in global supply chains. So diversification into the other sectors like chemical and machinery, it supports economic resilience. So next, we will explain the major import by the sector. So as we can see, the major import for 2024 was the E&E product and petroleum products. So in here, the key sector that we got, first we have intermediate goods, such as essential to the production of export goods. Second one is capital goods, where there's a machinery and technology imports, which it support the industrialization. The third one is the consumption goods, where we indicate the growing domestic demand. So for the economic shaping, in here we have the heavy reliance on intermediate goods, underscores the importance of the maintaining the global supply chains. So the imports of the capital goods reflect ongoing modernization of the industry. So as you can see, the major import that we have for the E&E product, we have 373.7 billion, and for the petroleum we have 109.8 billion. Okay, for the major export destination for 2024. In here we have Singapore, USA, China, Hong Kong, Japan, Chinese Taipei, Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia and Korea. So the top markets in here was Singapore for RM 190.3 billion. It has a key trade partner and transshipment hub. The second place is USA for RM 159.4 billion, where it has a strong demand for E&E products and industrial goods. The third place is China, where it has a 153.2 billion, where it has a reflecting demand for commodities and electronics. So the trade policy in here, it has influenced the Malaysia. It focused on this market, drive the needs for the trade-friendly policies like FTAs and the reduced tariff. Next, for the major import sources for 2024, we have China, Singapore, USA, Chinese Taipei, Japan, Indonesia, Korea, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, and Australia. So the top sources we have in here is China. It has produced for RM 243 billion, where they supplies machinery like electronics and consumer goods. Second place is Singapore, where they have 138.1 billion. They have functions as a major transshipment hub. The third place is USA for 104.9 billion. They provide an advanced technologies and industrial goods. So what is the impact on local industry? So it has a high depend on the China reflect the Malaysia integration into regional supply chains, and it also support the manufacturing and construction sector, but pose risk during the disruption. So next we will have a trade of the FTA countries in the Asian. So first, Malaysia trade relation, where the Malaysia participate in the Asian FTA, which is the free trade agreements, facilitates the tariff reductions and improve the market access, driving trade with countries like Singapore, Vietnam, and Thailand, which is the Asian. So this Asian is crucial for Malaysia regional trade. It is where they provide a stable market for both imports and the export. Next, what is the impact for the free trade agreements? So the impact is the FTA support the growth of Malaysia export sector by reducing the trade barrier, thereby making Malaysia goods more competitive in the regional markets. So as we can see, in 2015, the Malaysia export 219.2 billion. In 2016, they have export 231.2 billion, and for the highest export they have in 2022 is 452.7 billion, but then in 2024 it has declined to the 365.4 billion. So on next graph, I will explain the export by state. So in here we have Pulau Pinang for the first top performance, which they have export for 31.5%, and followed by the Johor for 20.4%, and Selangor it has 17.8%. Next we have Sarawak for 7.9%, and Wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur they have export for 4.7%, and Kedah they has export for 4.3%, and Perak they have export for 2.3%, and Melaka we have 2.1%. So in here, the Pulau Pinang, it has the export for RM bill for RM 447.4 billion, where they leads in the E&E export due to the strong manufacturing infrastructure. Second is Johor, where they have produced for 290 billion. They have excels in petrochemical and industrial goods. And for Selangor, they have produced for RM 252.7 billion, where they have contributes through the diverse industry and the logistics.